Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show, the Leland Talks for 10 Minutes show. That's the new name I'm coming up with. I hope you like it.
Nope, I don't.
And if you do like it, you should subscribe and hit the notification bell to receive updates on when I'm putting more old things on. If you watched last week's one, I put them out every week. If everything went according to plan, I have the exact same shirt on because I basically just recorded it. I know you're like, but that was a week ago. I just did it like 4 minutes ago. I've got a new story that I'm about to tell. I had both of them ready. I put a hat on. That was the way to make a difference. And it's a Saskatchewan Roughrider hat. I don't know if you can see it. It's in black on black. But that's a Saskatchewan Roughrider because I'm talking some football. That's what I'm talking about. You know what? Also, I'll do another button down. That looks like a different.
Please don't do that.
That looks way too. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. I'll tell you what I realized. I really miss my Canadian football this year.
Stradler throwing now, looking for Dembski, and it is picked off.
Because of COVID, we didn't have a season in the CFL this year. Canadian Football League. For those of you who don't know, you American folks, wider field, longer field. The center line is 55 instead of 50. 20-yard end zones. The uprights at the front of the end zone. So if you kick a field goal and you miss, and it's still in that 20 yards behind you, that ball is live. Go get it. 3 downs, 12 men, unlimited motion. So anyway, I don't, but I love it. I love Canadian football. I miss it this year a lot.
I don't know what to say to make you feel better.
I grew up in Saskatchewan. I was a fan of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Here's the thing about the Saskatchewan Roughriders for anyone growing up in Saskatchewan, or at least back then. I'm sure it's the same now. You just didn't have any teams. You didn't have any actual pro teams. There's some university teams. College sports isn't as big in Canada, although go Huskies. U of S Huskies. Let's do this.
What are you talking about?
Even in the days in the 80s when I was a fan, and it wasn't as big and huge then, it was still like we took pride. But here's the thing. I'll come back to that.
Please do.
But there's blackouts. You couldn't watch the game on TV. So, like, it's like 500 kilometers away from where I lived, because it's a big province, to a Rider game. So there was no way, poor kid on a farm, there's no way I'm ever going to a game, and then I can't watch the games on TV. It was frustrating. There was a weekly TV show I used to watch. I can't remember the name of it. I was trying to find it earlier on YouTube.
I looked it up on the Google.
And that's how I stay connected. My favorite player, and still probably to this day, Joey Walters. He was a receiver. His famous one-handed catch. Of course, I didn't see it. I heard it on the radio, and then I saw a picture of it. I used to practice the games. I used to not practice. I used to play them out as I heard them on the radio. You know, he's back to throw to Joey Walters, catch, and like I'd play it on a field by myself. Just act out what I'm hearing on the radio. How lame is that?
Yeah, that's pretty lame.
And I'll tell you, it is hard to catch a ball that you've thrown. You got to put some air under that in order to catch it. It's just straight up and then run like crazy. So as a result, when I did play football with like other people, like touch football or whatever, and if I was the quarterback, I just lobbed every pass. There were no darts. I was just so used to. Oh, there's a receiver way open over there. Let me just chuck it really high up to him. I got intercepted so many times. I was the worst quarterback, and I blame that. I blame that.
Are you sure it wasn't you?
I forgot to tell you like my most favorite story about the CFL and listening to it on the radio. There's 9 teams. Back in the day in the 80s, 2 of those teams were named the Rough Riders. 2 out of 9 teams were called the Rough Riders. Now, one team is green, one team is red and black, which are now, by the way, they're no longer the Rough Riders. They're called the Red Blacks because we just have zero imagination, apparently. Television, it's fine, but on the radio, even if there's a space between Rough and Riders, you don't hear that on the broadcast. Do you know what I'm saying? That was so confusing sometimes. It's go quarterback sneak. There's a fumble. Rough right. It's a fumble. Rough Riders recover. That's 130, 20, 10. Touchdown. Rough Riders win. Which one? Always been a Rider fan. Love myself some Riders. I had a tour back in Saskatchewan in September, a couple dates, and the first thing I did was go to the Rider store there and see if I could pick up some merch. Bought this new hat. So I was there in 1989 when we won the Grey Cup. I didn't go to the game because I never went to games back then. I didn't have any money. But 1989, my first year university, we hit the streets once the Riders won. It was such a good game. Oh man, 43-40. Dave Ridgway's last minute field goal gave us the Grey Cup, which is only our second at that time. So before 1989, by 1988, which there'd already been like close to 100, maybe not 100 Grey Cups, 80 Grey Cups or something like that. And we'd only won one. And it's only a 9-team league, sometimes 8-team league. It's a 100-year-old Grey Cup with only 8 other teams. And we'd only won it once before 1988. We won it 3 times since, so it's been amazing.
Amazing.
First game I ever actually went to was 1994, 95. I think it was 95. We were hosting the Grey Cup for, I think, the first time ever that Regina, Saskatchewan had hosted the Grey Cup. So they brought in some bleachers to get it up to like 55,000 because it seated like, I don't know, 28 or 29, maybe up by 30,000 or so by then. So yeah, it was like 55,000, and it was pretty full.
Don't you ever get tired of being wrong?
And then there's a bunch of drunk idiots breaking the wooden bleachers that they put up on the end zones to get us to the extra seating. They're sitting there jumping on them, snapping them because they thought it was funny. And it's like, now they have to repair all that, and it's going to cost our team more money. I don't understand those kind of crimes. I don't get that. Vandalism, like, it doesn't gain you anything. If you stole something, and so that's because you could get some money.
What are you planning on robbing a bank or something?
I mean, it's still wrong, but it's better than I'm just going to destroy something because it takes away from them and doesn't give me anything. I don't agree. Bad call, I say. Anyway, that was amazing. That was actually the Grey Cup that year. The first one in Saskatchewan was actually where Calgary lost to the Baltimore Stallions. The only time a Grey Cup has ever been won by an American team. So that's sad. Then I moved to BC in 2001, and I started to go to games out here because now I had a job, and I was in this, I had a job. Not that I didn't have a job back then.
He doesn't have a job.
Sparsely went to Saskatchewan games, even though I was a huge Saskatchewan Roughrider fan. I went to more Saskatchewan Roughrider fans in a year in BC than I used to go back then altogether. But yeah, we had a friend who often gave us tickets, and it was great. I went to the 2005 Grey Cup, my first Grey Cup ever, and we went to the game. I had to go to the bathroom, and I missed Pam Anderson. She was like the Grey Cup, the parade, what do you call that? The parade person? She was like that. And so she was there, hey, everybody, and then I forget what band. I'll get the lineups. I should have looked into that. 2011, I was just going to watch it. I was getting excited to watch it at home. It was also, again, in Vancouver, BC Place. I got the call from that guy that had been giving us tickets, and he's like, I got extra Grey Cup tickets if you want them. And I was like, what? Yeah. So I went, and here's what I did. I knew my wife didn't really care. I know my wife's, Carrie, her mom, loved CFL football. Like, she was more so than her dad. So I said, you should come with me. And I took my mother-in-law to the Grey Cup. And sure, I got some flaws. Sure, I'm not perfect.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
I think that story just kind of gives you a glimpse into how good of a guy I am.
People know me.
Like, I'm pretty amazing, pretty selfless.
I'm very important. I have many leather-bound books.
Anyway, yeah, that one was good. BC won. Grey Cup in BC. It was amazing. And I was just kind of thinking about the CFL this week, and I miss it. But to not have CFL football this past season has been tough. It's like my favorite thing to do. People ask me, what are your hobbies? It's like, I don't really have hobbies, okay? I do stand-up comedy, and everything I do around stand-up comedy eats up most of my time, and I enjoy it for the most part.
Just really sad.
But what do you do for fun? What do you do? I watch Canadian football. That's what I do. And this year I couldn't. So that's why I was thinking about it this year. And again, I went long, and this story has no real ending.
My apartment smells of rich mahogany.